Quick disclaimer at the beginning, run and voiceover was recorded on 2nd of June, so before the final shape released. And after it dropped there was campaign to do, some weird ride to do and get emblem I'm not even gonna use. Later there were class items to farm, and suddenly...
What day is it? The 15th of June.
So this video is already a little bit outdated, because there are now surges in normal raids, you are 5 light under, and there are new means of doing massive damage, and a new subclass. However, most strategies are still applicable, I think, and I didn't want to scrap entire video, so let's just leave it as relic of pre-final shape, low manning. That's all from future me, enjoy. So, Freeman Flawless Kingsfall. That's actually a thing I've done in the past. Me and 2 of my friends actually done it just a week after the Destiny 2 version of Kingsfall released. We were 27th team in the world that done it, according to Lowman Central. Funnily enough, I learned about this site just a few weeks ago. Okay, but doesn't matter.
No.
It's just a silly game about space magic and turning gods into weapons. However, I had fun doing that back then. And that fun was something that started to slowly fade away. So I dropped D2.
No one quits.
While I was gone, I rediscovered what a rage in front of a screen feels like. And then went for 1700 hours of splashing bandits in today's sponsor, War Thunder. Actually, that's not true. But I wish it was. However, looking at the degeneracy I represent while playing this game, I doubt that's ever gonna happen. Okay, but let's get back to this thing. After I got back from over 7 months long break because of game being potentially fun again, and catching up with everything I missed, I received a Discord message, and it went something like this. So that answered the question of already questionable timeline of those videos. And one more thing, since I've done it back in Season of the Plunder, we're gonna compare those 2 runs a little and see if much has changed. Let's begin. First of all, what classes are we running? Back then we went with 3 warlocks. Shocking, I know. Now it just happened to be also 3 warlocks. I'm not saying here that 3 grenade devourers are mandatory, but we all just feel most comfortable on them. Also, they're cool for jumping. I'd recommend running 2 warlocks though, it just makes it easier. Enterance is all about relics. Ideally 2 warlocks or someone amplified just jumps across the gap and 3rd person turns into DF9 anti-infantry turret and makes life easier for runners by removing any adds that bother them. How to jump? Here's left side. And here's right. Also you can use Phoenix Dive while holding relic and it won't disappear, so feel free to heal yourself. High mobility is advised here, and to be even safer you can take Risk Runner to reduce incoming arc damage. After we get 2 ships. Normally there's a barrier at the end. Rozumiesz to? Nie, no to jest 5 minut więcej tu. But as long as you don't hit the lower loading zone, barrier won't appear, therefore you can just fly through. I did it with method that you can see on the screen, there are plenty of guides for this skip. But if you want to do it old-fashioned way, which is 2 people step on place, 1 on a ship, when 1 person gets through, other 2 leave, lift activates, you get to first encounter. And don't go past this door before it loads, this may have bad consequences on your health. First encounter and actually most challenging one. Here, 1 person might need to lead forward a little. and that person is someone taking care of left Annihilator Totem. So that's of course gonna be me. Right side is nothing special, just 2 people rotating brand and depositing buff. It's good to have Eager Edge Sword and something for unstopped champions that spawn every 50 Deathsinger power that you deposit. Let's get to the tricky part on the left side. You have 2 objectives. Prevent Annihilator Totem from wiping you and your team, and don't die. The question is, how? You need to stand on Totem plate to reset its wipe timer, and live fast enough not to get killed by poison that deals more and more damage to you. So it means you need to go fast and have constant source of healing. That's where the Warlock comes in. And again, I'm not saying Warlock is mandatory, but definitely helps a lot. 2 major ways of getting that done is Void and Solar Warlock. One with Devour and Blink, other with Restoration and Icarus Dash. I was using Devour back in 2022, so we will stick to that. Our loadout is again Eager Edge Sword, something for ad clear. I was using Good Old Ghoul, and harder hitting special for chunkier targets, for example Mountain Top or Heritage. For exotic armor, I was running Blink Helmet and pretty high mobility, but those 2 aren't necessary. I just find them working for me. So when we start encounter, you stand next to brand buff and get ready. When you hear, wait around 2 seconds and jump in. Proc Devour while standing on a plate for around 10 seconds, and when you hear this sound, leave plate and go back to brand while maintaining Devour. Rinse and repeat. You need to stay outside the totem chamber, so amount of damage that poison deals you can reset. If you get back too soon, you'll get chunked for half HP for the first tick, and then neither Devour nor Restoration will save you. So your role is basically edging totem for around 6 minutes. And what is the biggest problem with edging? That's correct, getting interrupted. If in unfortunate turn of events, Unstoppable Champion decides that you must die and starts rapidly approaching your location, then that unfortunate part is for him, because you just hit him with that and get back to edging. And speaking of brain rot, left side doesn't require any communication with the rest of your team, so feel free to keep that mewing streak on. In terms of weird things that might happen, sometimes you get reverse flashed.
No, the blackness! No!
Other times your sword decides it doesn't feel like swinging right now.
Oh chuj.
And rare one is when you get on a play just in last second, but someone else on the other side of the map gets wiped by Annihilator Totem that you just stopped.
Siema. O, no to.
So that should be everything about totems. Let's continue. What's that, you might ask? That's Connor. He's a silly little fella.
One shudders to imagine what inhuman thoughts lie behind that mask. One dreams of chronic and sustained cruelty.
Well, I don't know. But one thing I know is that he's good at killing mobs. And he challenges you to deposit more than 31 stacks of Deathsinger power in one go and get away with it. Submit your clips to connorwasbetteranyway31@gmail.com. It's time for first boss, and difficulty of raid suddenly drops significantly. Now there's no big difference between 3 men and 6 men, you just can't wait for someone else to go for the knight. We decided to designate 2 players that will always go for knight, and the third guy just sits in well and does damage. I was using Izanagi with Apex, and my comrades were running edge transits. In terms of subclasses, we ran 2 wells and 1 needlestorm, because there's no point in third well. For exotic armor, it's best to run Eons to generate heavy ammo and switch to something like Lunas for damage. But since exotic primary nowadays have much higher chance of dropping power ammo, those aren't really necessary. Remember that knight can't spawn on the side where last plate was activated. Keep that in mind, so when second knight is spawning on the left side, you leave for him earlier, or call to person with brand to get closer to you. Here we can also see first major difference between 2022 and now. Aside from other spot we're damaging from, just look at the damage after one phase. One tip I can give you here is when you still don't have well charged for next damage phase, you can just wait before killing all 3 orange bar knights. Glyph sequence won't start unless you kill all of them, or wait really long. At the end of damage phase, try to avoid doing what I did here, which is running in front of a teammate that is still shooting high explosive. This might have bad consequences for his health. After easy 3 phase now and close 4 phase back then, Be careful not to get sudden haircut from Blight and we're good to go. Golgoroth got much easier. We used to have one person DPSing and two taking care of the gaze, but now we found much easier way for him.
My resolution? Airstrike.
We will basically use solo strat, which is destroy one bubble, ignore the gaze and get as much damage as possible in one pool of light. The important thing here is that if you don't take gaze, boss won't open and will only receive explosive damage. So we all will be using edge transit, but important part of that grenade launcher is bait and switch, and how you proc it when Golgi only takes explosive damage? You could just run two special GLs, but then we won't have any exotic primary for clear between phases, and most importantly, heavy generation. And heavy is pretty important, so how we solve this problem? After combining all three of our brain cells, I had a brilliant thought. Oh, fighting line exists. It does explosive damage and uses primary ammo, so can be swapped to from other primary and still have ammo. Yippee! Useless gun finally found its use. This leaves us with loadout of Montan Top, Fighting Lion swap for other exotic primary, like Sunshot, and Edge Transit. If you decide to do that with that method, you probably should run at least 2 wells, because you might not have it back for second damage phase. While standing in pool, remember about unstable light and be careful not to blow yourself up with grenade when big guy comes too close. Damage, as you can see, edge.
No, stragla mówię, ja nie myślałem stragla.
Nie no, to damage robisz. Is pretty brain dead, so nothing interesting to say here. Thanks to absolutely crucial information provided to us by my friend, we succeed and can move to... Yeah, jumping puzzles in flawless rides used to be kinda scary back in the day. But thanks to blessing of Montan Top, Eager Edge and Hit Rises are now a joke. One thing is to again wait for doors to load, because as we all know, if you go too fast in this game, very bad things will happen to you. Can you guess what's wrong here? Encounter started, but we didn't have spawn restriction, and after killing Death Singers, we got soft lock. That means... Daughters are only encounter that was actually easier right after raid release in D2. That's thanks to absurd amount of damage that Wolfpack runs were doing to witches. Back then you were able to melt them in just a few seconds. Now you're able to easily one-phase first daughter, but ammo for second phase is just a gamble. So we'll be going for safe option here. Nothing here changes compared to 6-man in terms of mechanics. But since there's only 3 of you, deciding who goes where makes it even easier. One person takes care of top plates, one of bottom, and last switches player that got taken. We are using edge transits with wells, because sunbracers are of course only exotic in existence. While standing on a plate, help runner as much as you can by shooting Axion darts that are coming his way, and by showing ads Power of the Sun. Runner should call out when he's about to pick up buff, so people standing on plate can avoid getting burned. It really shouldn't matter with restoration times 2 up all the time, but it also won't hurt. Last encounter, once again, used to be kinda challenging, but now is just a joke, and that's thanks to Whisper of the Worm. Why? You'll see in a bit. Again, free wells here are pointless, but sun braces are just that good for ad clear. In terms of strat, you can get on a plate as soon as it lights up, but safer way is to wait a moment to clear at least one side of room before getting on a plate. Ogres spawn counterclockwise from first plate, so for example, if top left is first, it will go like this. When this area is clear, you're good to go, because person on top can easily clean up rest of ogres and knights from plate, and if he's too slow and gets taken, he should just call that out so someone that switches him will take care of that. After taking brand from knight, person with buff will also detonate one bomb. But since there are 4 bombs and only 3 guardians, 1 bomb will be left for next phase. Just remember which one is it and detonate it on next phase. That way you got 4 bombs and longer damage phase. Now let's look at the damage from Season of the Plunder, first phase, second, third and fourth. And now current damage, first and second.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, we actually got 2 phase on practice run. Whisper is just that strong and easy to use. On flawless run, unfortunately, Trust blocked a few shots and we ended up with 3 phase. After damage phase, Oryx will either bomb you instead, then quickly
Airstrike.
nice on a plate, or if you
Opened up his domain.
then quickly him. Don't be afraid to use Whisper for killing yellow bars, because more than likely there's a lot of ammo on the floor, and since that's flawless, bricks from previous encounter are still here. On final stand, one bomb was enough for us, but if you need to and want to be safe, go also for second. Now we can see who was holding left click the hardest. Conclusion is same as last time. Did we get anything by doing that? No, but reason for playing the game for a few hours is always good, and it was kinda fun. There will be link to full run with muted audio, because I had copyrighted music in background and we were yapping a lot. Run from 2022 will also be in the description. Hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching.